subscribe the channel for more videos. We promise to keep you entertained. The anime begins with the Tang sect temple that's built on Hell's Peak, which is an organization of Tang sect. The sect specializes in hidden martial weapons and teaches martial arts because it had knowledge of different types of weapons for centuries. And these weapons were designed in such a way that no other sect could make weapons by copying them. And to learn how to use the secret weapons, the disciples themselves have to work hard for hundreds of years. That is why this sect was divided into two parts, inner sect and outer sect. The people of inner sect knew all the secrets of the Tang sect while the outer sect did not. Then we see a boy named Tang San in the woods near Hell's Peak, whom master of Tang sect is trying to catch. But Tang San escapes all of his dangerous attacks and was moving forward, because Tang San had purple devilish eyes and ghostly trace power, by using which he escapes all dangerous weapons. The master is very surprised to see that he is moving forward. Tang San, crossing through the sky barrier, reaches Devil Cry. But then all the masters also reach there. They tell Tang San that you belong to the outsider sect, yet you secretly learned the art of hidden weapons in the Tang sect, which is the greatest crime. Tang San says, whatever I have learned from Tang sect so far, I will not teach that to anyone else. And now I realize my mistake. And now it's time to make everything right. I will return everything given by the Tang sect, even my ability. Then he takes out the most powerful weapon of the Tang sect, which he made inside the sect secretly, and he returns it to the master and takes off all his clothes, because he got those clothes from the Tang sect. Now to finish his ability, he moves forward to jump down from the top of Hell's Peak. But the Grand Master, Tenglen, tries to stop him, though he jumps down. Grandmaster is very sad about this because Tang San was a very good student who was determined. The Grandmaster's brother tells the Grandmaster, Tang San is a traitor, that's why we should not mourn his death. So the Grandmaster says he was not a traitor, because even after learning our mightiest art, he did not harm us, and he gave his life to prove his integrity. And he has been our best student for 200 years. That's how they realized their mistake. He tells everyone that he was worthy of being my successor. That's why he tells everyone to look for Tang San in Devil Cry. But Tang San dies, and after passing through different dimensions, he is reborn in another world full of martial spirits called Soul Land, where his name remains Tang San. He also remembers everything about his previous life. He is meditating sitting on a hill, and after some time, he goes back to his house. When he returns to his house, he cooks for his father Tang Hao. Tang Hao is a blacksmith, but he drinks too much and is the one who raised Tang San from childhood. Tang San prepares food and eats with his father. Then the head of the village, Jake, comes over to pick up Tang San because today the master of his spirit soul was coming to check the martial soul of all the children of the village. Tang seeks permission from his father, so Tang Hao lets him go. But he tells him to come back soon. Jake, with all the kids, arrive at a place on the border of Tiandu and Jingluo, which was the temple of the spirit master of this village. He tells everyone that this place is the handwriting left by the soul saint of our village, which represents the glory of our village. Then there comes Su Yuntao, the war soul master of Nuoding city, who is here to check the martial soul of all the children. Jake calls all the kids and tells that the master will help you to awaken your martial soul, so you have to support the master. And I hope that one among you will surely become the soul master. Master says to Jake that you said the same thing last year, but it is not that easy to become a soul master. I went to 6 villages, but there was no spiritual power in the children. And to become a soul master, it is very important to have spiritual power. Jake tells them that I know only heirs of clans can become soul masters easily, but it is very difficult for common people like us. Master then opens the door of the temple with his magic, so all the kids go in. Master asks everyone to stand in a line. A kid pushes Tang San, but Tang doesn't say anything and stands in the side. Master tells them all that my name is Suyun Tao and I am a great soul master of 26th rank. That's why I'll guide you. And to check the martial soul of all those kids, he creates a circle with his stones. He calls the first boy and says, "Do not be afraid at all." The boy comes and stands in that circle. And now the master asks him to feel the power. Now the master awakens his soul, due to which all the kids get scared. But the master tells them that I told you not to be afraid. This is the form of my martial soul, and through this I will also be able to check your martial soul. And if one of you becomes a soul master, then you will be able to use the soul power you have received. Then he checks the martial soul of that child, but his martial soul is a farming tool. That's why the martial soul was useless. And when he checks his soul power, he lacks even the slightest of it. That's why he doesn't deserve to be a soul master. Then he starts checking martial soul of other children one by one. But all the children lack soul power and possess useless tools and souls. And finally, it's Tang San's turn. Master has a strange feeling about Tang San, and when he checks his soul, it's a blue silver plant, which is considered to be the most useless soul. But here we see that Tang San has two martial souls, and his second soul is a sky hammer, but he hides it from the master, due to which the master feels that Tang San only has the blue silver plant soul. The master gets very disappointed because that soul is also useless, and he asks all the kids to go. But Tang San tells him that you didn't test my soul power. So the master says that I have never seen such a child possessing soul power despite having a blue silver plant soul. So Tang San tells him that I have to try. So the master gives him a chance and asks him to touch the crystal ball of soul power. As soon as Tang San touches that crystal ball, it starts shining brightly. This surprises the master. He tells him that if there is even a little light in the crystal ball, then it means that the soul power exists. But since it's shining bright, it means you are born with full soul power. Tang San asks him, "What is absolute soul power?" Master tells him that the power of your martial soul has been awakened. While when the other children touched the crystal ball, there was no shine. It means they will never become the soul master. If you are enjoying this video, hit the like button and show some love. And if a child has even a little soul power, he or she can be trained through meditation. And when the soul power awakens, the journey of soul master begins. The more the soul power a child has, the faster they will be able to train. He also tells him that each of the 10 levels of martial soul is given a name. In the beginning, when your soul power awakens, you are called a soul warrior or a trainee, having 10 levels. The one with low soul power is called level 1 soul warrior, and the one having full power will be called the level 10 soul warrior. Tang San asks him if those with full power can't go beyond level 10. So the master tells him that I have never met such a person who was born with full soul power, and when I woke up, I had a level 1, 2 soul power, and it can only go up to level 10. And in order to proceed, it must acquire the soul ring. And you will never get the next title until you get that. So Tang San understands that the soul ring is the light around the body, and he tells him that you are a 26th rank master. That's why you have 2 soul rings. Master says you are absolutely right. Then he asks him to see the person born with full soul power. It is very rare, but your case will be very special, because your martial soul is a blue silver plant worse than any farm equipment. Tang San feels that he must acquire the soul ring, but he doesn't understand what soul ring actually is. So he asks the master about it, but he doesn't say anything and comes out. The chief comes to master and asks him if there is any soul master in our village. So the master tells him that there's only one child who is born with full soul power. This leaves Jake shocked, because till date even they had not seen a child born with full soul power. But the master tells him that it is very unfortunate that Tang San's martial soul is the blue silver plant. Tang San gets really disappointed by this, and now the master goes to check the martial soul of the kids from another village. Tang San asks Jake, "What is Soul Ring and how can I get it?" Jake tells him that I have no idea about this either. But I think in order to get Soul Ring, you have to find a spirit animals. But it's very dangerous unless you become the master of the soul. And now Jake asks Tang San if he wants to join the Soul Master Training School. Because only by staying there, you'll be able to get every single knowledge about the martial soul. So Tang San tells him, "But first I have to get permission from my father." So Jake goes to Tang Hao's house with Tang San to talk to him. Tang Hao is sleeping, but Jake wakes him up and he tells him that your son is born with full soul power. Tang Hao asks his son, "What is your martial soul?" Tang San tells him that his martial soul is the blue silver plant. Jake tells Tang Hao that I have decided that Tang San will be trained at the Beginner's Soul Master School in Neoding City to obtain a trainee position in our village. But Hao refuses because Tang San had the blue silver plant martial soul. Jake gets angry and says that if we send Tang San to Beginner's Soul Master School, then he can become a successful person. So Hao tells him, "What's the point of being successful? Because after he is gone, there will be no one to cook for me. And anyway, blue silver plant is a useless martial soul." So Jake tells him that Tang San is born with full soul power, and until he gets the soul ring, he can be given a training as soul master. But Hao does not listen to him and asks him to leave. This angers Jake, and even Tang San asks Jake to leave. He says, "My father is right. Blue silver plant is a useless soul, so it's better not to learn the abilities of soul master." Jake tells him that I'm not angry. You are a very good boy, but I worry about your future. And while leaving, he says with a gesture that I think you have given up too soon. And let me know if you change your mind, because only 3 months are left for the school admission to start. After saying this, he leaves from there. Tang Hao asks Tang San, "Do you want to be a soul master?" Tang San says that he is fine with being a son of a blacksmith and that they can be better together. And he says to his father that he promised him that he'll teach Tang San how to make farm equipment. Tang San says he will also be by his father's side and cook for him. Tang Hao asks Tang San to show his martial soul. When Tang San shows him his blue silver plant soul, Tang Hao remembers that this soul is just like his wife Yin's, and he goes inside feeling sad. But then Tang San tells him that he also has another soul, and he shows him his sky hammer soul. This surprises Tang Hao. And in the flashback, we see that when Tang San was born, people from Spirit Hall attacked Tang Hao and his wife Yin. They came to take Yin with them because she was not a human, but 1,00,000-years-old spirit beast. Yin sacrificed herself to save her husband and son from people of his Spirit Hall. This broke Tang Hao, and soon he became a drunkard. But now he is very happy to see a twin soul in his son and hugs him. Tang San is quite surprised by this because in all these years, his dad hugged him for the first time. Tang Hao tells his son that in future you will have to protect your blue silver plant with your hammer. Tang San also agrees to it. And now Tang Hao starts teaching his son to make tools. And after 3 months of continuous hard work, Tang San learns to make tools. Tang San cooks porridge for his father. Tang Hao tells his son that you have to pack your bags because Jake will take you to Nuoding City tomorrow so that you can train to become a soul master. Tang San is also happy about it, but he asks his father, "Who will cook for you after I'm gone?" So Tang Hao tells him that I'll take care of myself and the blacksmith training that I gave you. With that, you can work in the blacksmith shop in Nuoding City, with which you'll be able to pay the fees of Beginner Soul School. Also, he says to him, "Before you go, you have to promise me that you'll never attach a soul ring to your sky hammer. Also, no one should know about your hammer soul. All you have to do is use your blue silver plant." So Tang San asks him, "Will I never be able to use my hammer power?" So Tang Hao tells him that you can only use it when it's a matter of life or death and you are left with no choice. Tang San also understands his point. Now, the next morning, Jake comes to pick Tang San. Tang San prepares porridge for his father before leaving so that he can eat it when he wakes up. Also, he leaves a message for him saying, "Take care of yourself." On the way, Tang San asks Jake about the beginner soul school, and they keep moving forward and reach Nuoding City in few hours, which is a beautiful city. And the episode ends here. Please subscribe the channel for more such videos and let us know in the comments about your favorite part of the video. Thank you for watching.